We're back here at the Meadows and we're 12 minutes out from the next, which is the race, and the reason why we are here tonight, the Group 1 time-honoured Silver Chief Classic Final. And from what we saw last week, Duck, we've got a fair contest ahead of us because, geez, it was entertaining. There was leaders, there was dogs getting run down, but didn't matter who was winning, who was getting run down. They were all good dogs, so it was bloody good to watch.
Yeah, it was excellent. And who would have thought Alan D's track record getting smashed by Traumatise? It went straight to the front, showed what he was capable of. Can be a little hit or miss. Is tonight the situation where he just goes bang from the inside draw with Ross the Boss slightly shifting off the track, or does he miss it like he has been prone to do? And this race could be a lot more deeper than the market suggests.
Yep, 100%. All right, let's take a look at that track record run last week, because this has been a greyhound for a long period of time. It's had a lot of promise. It was through the Pink Diamond Maiden Series in the middle part of the year where Jason Thompson said, and this is after Traumatise had 2 or 3 starts, that he would be one of the better sprinters going around at the tail end of the year. Now, he hasn't exactly gone to the top ranks, has he, and been a Group 1 style performer, but he's got it right. He's really got it right, and tonight is his platform to show us what he's made of from a standing up in a good race point of view, because last week we saw how fast he is, breaking a record that's has stood for a very long time, as you said.
Yeah, and then the night of the Melbourne Cup heats, he had box 8. Now, box 8 at Sandown's probably the worst draw in Australia, and nothing went right for him on that occasion. It just shows you've just got to stick with these young dogs. They can show what they're made of when the setup gets a lot more positive, and that's what happened last start. He had box 3 in a race. It didn't have too much early speed. The only hang-up in the race was number 2, Crackerjack Ralph, and he burned him off, ran that 5:03, which he's been inconsistent. Can he do that tonight off box 1? The conditions here are quite windy and cold, and I actually think it's probably more of a positive for Traumatise, because he might not necessarily need to lead as long as he's vying for the lead, and he's got that strength obviously with breaking the track record last week. So the wind here and the conditions, not too much of a problem here, and box 1 probably adds to the confidence. So right in the finish, just it's a matter of him being $1.50. Is that too short? Probably.
And just quickly before we move on to some of these other runners, the runner-up in that race was Room to Breathe. He went 29.79 in his own right. Couldn't have done much more, but it looks to be a tricky draw, despite it being inside and possibly on face value suitable. Ross the Boss could give him some grief.
Yeah, that's right. He tends to just want to shift off the track slightly. Ross the Boss's best form has been here at the Meadows, 8 starts for 4 wins. He really is a Meadows dog. At just box 2, I just feel like he's likely to shift off the track, especially if there is a bunch going into that first turn. Ross the Boss is probably more inclined to panic and shift out to the right, which could allow Traumatise that saloon clear run, bruise-free run, so to speak. Box 2 probably done Ross the Boss no favours here. At $17, I would think he probably should be starting with a 3 in front of it, to be honest.
So despite Traumatise being the fastest performance of last week, possibly the most entertaining one came from Electrify, who is another one who started off his career in red-hot fashion. He's taken a while to sort of get to this level, but geez, it was a perfect stage last Saturday night for him to come from the clouds and win in the way he did, Duck. This is him from box 5 last week, coming from absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, this is a dog that's always had that freak factor about him. What he was trialling before he debuted got the track watchers talking. This dog's an absolute freak. And then he had a bit of a career lull, a bit worried about where he was sort of positioned. But the last 3 starts here at the Meadows, put it all together. So he copped that early check there. And then going into this first turn here, he's just behind a wall of dogs, having his momentum holded, can't really stride out to how he wants to. It's only sort of here he sort of goes, I'm going to dive up along the rail. And then the run's finished there as well. And he had to hook out. And when he hooked out there, he got another check and got his momentum holded. This is Intrepidus out in front, who's no slouch at all. And just watch him fly home here. The track sense in and out, shifting in and out, and then hit the line over the top and won. Just take no notice of the time on the night, which was 30.06, I believe. So I think he's a lot more capable than that. He can go 29.50 with a clear run. It's just a matter of where he's positioned on that first turn. Dewana Star will have a big say in that. It might be able to get him that card across. And if he's out in space, he's one of those greyhounds Electrify. I don't care if he runs an extra 12 or 13 metres compared to some of these other greyhounds. Normally that would be the difference between winning and losing. But with this dog, I don't think it matters, because he's got that freak factor about him and he's looking for further, and he could be a stayer to watch in 2026.
And as we heard from Greg Doyle pre-race as well, I mean, it's that real appreciation of his greyhound now for developing that field sense, because as we know in any walk of life when it comes to greyhound racing, if you're fast, it may not mean stuff all if you can't race in a field, but he's starting to pick that up, and there's no better example in his past couple of runs here.
Yeah, there was a couple of Monday night races at Sandown, small fields. He started short price favourite, and it was very disappointing. He looked like I wanted to see what this dog could do, and he wasn't showing it. But the last 3 starts, I don't know what it is about here at the Meadows. He's just exploded, and he has still got some room for improvement in the early part of his races, but it's more just a luck factor. I cannot believe he's roughly the outsider of the field here. It's $26. He's my on-top selection. $1.50 v $26. I'm happy to stick my neck out here on an each-way basis. If he places, we can make a profit. He is insane odds electrify, and the wind here tonight is actually adding to my confidence because he's so strong.
Let's get to some of these other runners, and first off, number 4, Vista Weird. Look, you can see him, as you say, with the conditions, taking advantage of those. He's got a massive motor. He'll run on, he'll run wide. I've just got no idea where he's going to settle in the early part of the race. What do you think?
Absolutely spot on, Jace. You couldn't have said that any better. Room to Breathe showed great early and mid-race acceleration last week. Yeah, it was tagging, traumatised down the back straight. It was a great run. So where does that leave someone like Vista Weird? He's going to get jammed up in the middle potentially. Whiskey Whiskers, he's another one who you don't quite know what he's doing early in the sense of what it will do for Vista Weird, positively or negatively. I just can't see a race shape here that's going to benefit Vista Weird. I want to see him out on the crown of the track in space, and I just don't think he gets that here tonight.
What about Whiskey Whiskers? We heard from Corey Smith earlier, who's tipped him on top at a price as well. I mean, he couldn't have done much more last week in running down Dewana Star. He was the Great Chase winner here at the Meadows. Why is he the price he is?
It's a very good question. Like I said, he's won a group race over this track and trip. The setup last week was basically on Michelle Marley's dog. Sparring, I thought, was going to cart him into the race, and Sparring actually completely bombed the start, so the card I was hoping for wasn't there. But Whiskey Whiskers still managed to find himself in that 4 position, and he used the 5-6 off the fence to perfection and mowed down Dewana Star fair and square. It was a sensational win. I also think he's a big over at $16. Again, he's one of several dogs in this race. I don't think he maps as well as he did in the heat. The map is more of a negative tonight in a full field, box 5, with that potential of Dewana Star cutting him off at box rise.
And what about Dewana Star? He's the one I'm tipping on top, and it was from a point of view that I was just looking for a reason to take on Traumatised. I mean, he hasn't been the week in, week out faultless performer, of which he looked like last week. So if he does that tonight, he turns a corner. But I just thought there was reason to take him on, and I went with Dewana Star. And look, his turn of foot, of which he's got sort of from 50 metres to 200 metres, is the best in the race. So can he go better than his 29.80 last week? Possibly. In these conditions, probably not. I think that's around his mark. What do you think the chances of him are?
Yeah, strong market move in the last couple of hours into $5. He has a lot of upside. I still think it might be a little bit too early over these city-type tracks. Can have a big state in how this race shapes, because he really should ping the leads and cart over. Where does that bring Electrify into the race? Does Dewana Star begin even better than expected tonight, having his 3rd look here at the Meadows, explode out? Could there be some trouble behind? Yes, absolutely there could in these young, age-restricted races. I just think he's probably priced accordingly now. He's at a rock bottom price, and as you said, I think the conditions are actually a negative for him here. A little bit like Vincent Bale, a bit worried about the last few metres with the wind. In the end, he didn't need to worry about that, Vincent Bale. But with Dewana Star, young greyhound, with a bit of wind around tonight, not running the real fast times, I think that's probably a negative.
What about number 8, Webleg Billy? He won last week. He won last week. He was the first of the heat winners. It just looks awfully tough to see how he can get into the race, isn't it?
Yeah, from box 8, it's done him no favours at all. What I will say about last week, though, that was probably the strongest Silver Chief heat that he ended up winning. So full merit to him there. You can never quite discount anything trained by Jeff and Angela in these age-restricted races, but box 8, no help at all.
All right, they're in the parade yard. Let's get out to Corey Smith. The Sky Racing One are always also on board.
Looking forward to having a chat to everyone in the parade yard here. First of all, Greg Doyle. Greg, 36 years you've been hoping to have a runner in a Group 1, and you've got one here, and he just needs to strut his stuff.
Yeah, he does, and he's going to need a bit of luck from out there. A bit like last week, we know he's not blessed with early pace. That he can get it right, and I'm hoping the 6 can maybe give him a card across. And if we end up 3rd or 4th round through the catching pen, then maybe he can put himself in the race. I suppose it all depends what the red does.
We spoke about it pre-box draw that you wanted an inside draw, box number 7. You're relying on Dewana Star to just tag you into that one?
Yeah, and look, he's certainly last sort of 3 or 4 starts been happy to go around dogs, so not desperate for the rail anymore, but certainly probably be a bit easier trying to get around good dogs like this field. There's some strong dogs, so I know you won't be passing as many like you did last week maybe, but if you can be in front of a few of those strong dogs like Whiskey Whiskers, Vista Weird, depending on what's in front, maybe you can run past a few more.
Well, good luck. I know that'll be a popular victory if Greg Doyle can win the Group 1. Craig Sulkin. Craig, Whiskey Whiskers, he's almost been forgotten by the market. I think he's massive overs.
Yeah, massively overs, I think, personally. You know, box probably isn't his greatest box, but if he can sit on the back of him going down the back straight, he'll run a good race.
We just heard from Greg Doyle, Dewana Star's the key to his boys' race. Is that the same thing for Whiskey Whiskers? You want him out in front of you and give you a tag along?
Yeah, hopefully if he can get us a tag along, we might be able to follow it through and that. We probably won't beat it out of the box, but if we can get a good run around the first bend, see how we go.
Well, good luck. I'll grab Taylor Thornton as well. Taylor, room to breathe. He obviously had a significant injury after starting his career in fantastic fashion. We'll walk together here. But he looks like he's come back in nice form.
Yeah, he has, and it's a huge achievement on the dog to make the final in a Group 1 from what he's been through, so fingers crossed we get a bit of luck tonight.
What's the key to his chances? Is it leading, or do you think he can come off him?
Well, we'd like to be 6 in front, 20 behind, to be fair, but he can come from behind.
All right, can come from behind, can lead, room to breathe. Looks like he's going to get himself into a nice position. We'll let everyone get around the dais here, and then I'll keep pestering a few more people. I might grab Matty Dewan. Matt, big family Christmas on tonight, and you've managed to come out and hopefully handle this bloke in a Group 1 win.
Yeah, hopefully he just jumps last week and does his best and gives it a chance.
Box number 6, do you have any reservations about that?
I don't think there's a lot of pace around him, so if he begins and shows his early pace, he might be able to just, get up close to the front.
Do you expect him to be able to improve on that run home time that we saw last week?
Yeah, I do think there may be a length or two. It was only his second run ever over the 525, so fingers crossed that he just gets around safe.
That's all that matters at the end of the day, but good luck. Just quick word from Nick Britton. Nick, you've got 2 dogs in this race. Your family does anyway. Is this bloke the preferred option or Whiskey Whiskers?
Box draw-wise, I think Wedwick Billy, but definitely overall, Whiskey's a lot faster.
All right, well, there we go. There's all the trainers for the Group 1 Silver Chief, boys. It's going to be a ripping race.
It's going to be a very intriguing contest, and I know you're with Whiskey Whiskers, and Michael Ty, you've gone for a bit of value as well. Who have you got on top?
Yeah, I've got number 7, Electrify, on top. I'm hoping Dewana Star can explode out and give that Electrify a great card across. I think he's an insane price here at $23. I'm happy to be on each way all day. Absolutely no pot at all on Traumatise. Just happy to sort of take him on at $1.50. Could he lead and win and be a case of times and margins if he pings the lids? Absolutely. Just at the price, $1.50 v $23. I'm happy to be on Electrify, but I would not talk you out of Traumatise off the inside draw, and a great map. 7, 1, 6 and 3, my top 4 here, Jace.
Well, it's a time-honoured classic in our sport, run at Group 1 level, and you go through the last 6 winners. Epitomise, Mapunga Shine, Amron Boy, Zippy Tesla, Lakeview Walter, and the mighty Simon Told Helen. They're not won by fluke, and these greyhounds go on to do some very good things. Who's going to win it in 2025? We'll find out in about 45 seconds' time. Here's James for the call.
50 about Traumatise, and he broke the track record here last week. He's lining up off the inside. Could not have wished for a better speed map. The inside draw, a bit of a wide runner in 2, Ross the Boss, hence he's 150. He is going to run a real shorty here in the Silver Chief Classic, a race for the young stars. It's a stud dog making race in the past. We'll see what plays out here. Favoured off the inside, Traumatise 150 as they load away. It's the Group 1 Silver Chief and the green light on. Favoured in red. Stand by for a start. They're set. Away and racing, and Traumatise out quickly off the inside, and the favourite's going to shoot through to an uncontested lead from Whiskey Whiskers to Dewana Star. Weblake Billy posted wide, and then Ross the Boss from Room to Breathe, Vista Weird, and Electrify can see them all, but Traumatise tears away down the back, led by 5 lengths over to Dewana Star, then Ross the Boss from Room to Breathe and Whiskey Whiskers, but the moment is now for Mr. T. Traumatise racing clear, and he is going to smash them in the silver Silver Chief, a magnificent winner. Traumatised by 8 lengths from Dewana Star. Third, Ross the Boss, the race of his life. And fourth might be Weblek Billy ahead of Vista Weird. Then Whiskey Whiskers, Electrify, and Room to Breathe last in. This might be the start of something special. 29.57 for Traumatised.
29.57. James Vandermaat says this might be the start of something special. I'd argue, Holly, that started last week with the track record. But to be able to do it tonight when it matters, Group 1 time, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely an impressive dog. His start last week really got to show what he's made of, and I'm happy he was able to keep consistent and, yeah, get the win tonight.
It's always nice to get a box number 1 in a big final, but he had to use it, and he probably didn't nail the start like he did last week, but he just needs 20 metres to balance up, and then he just takes off.
Yeah, he's just a class dog, and he's really starting to mature and turn into that real good race dog, and yeah, hopefully he can just keep improving next year and get into some more big races.
Probably a hard question to answer, but have you noticed anything different about him in the last few weeks, or do you just think he's just coming into his own with more race experience?
Yeah, I think with the more experience he's getting at the racetrack, he's a very quirky dog. Yeah, he was a dog that we weren't even sure he was going to make it to the racetrack with some surgeries he had to get before his first start, and that's all thanks to Sandown Vet Clinic for getting him there. And yeah, the more races he's getting, he's just becoming more mature and coming to that class dog.
Well, well done to you, well done to the team at home. Traumatised is an absolute star on the rise.
Thanks, Corey.
There it is, Holly Thompson, handler of Traumatised. What a performance that was, 29.57. Not quite as quick as last week, fellas, but nearly as impressive.
Yeah, just as impressive, I think, Smithy, when we can compare the conditions from last week to this week. He's been absolutely sublime, and we're in the box seat here to see him step out like an absolute rocket. And I'm sure for Holly Thompson, as we're seeing here on screen, she was in cruise control because there was absolutely no way in the world he was getting beat. And look, Duck, if there was ever a thing as a greyhound that's had 18 starts now, having a monkey on his back, it was possibly him with a reputation. He's well and truly shaken that off, and here's how he did it with the head-on view.
Yeah, Ross the Boss just took a hard right turn there, so Traumatised. And they didn't quite ping to the best of his capabilities. He just had all that room to move, drive through. He's a very courageous dog. He took the gap when presented. You saw the arm and he liked it, and he just exploded away and made Dewana Star almost look second rate there. And I've got a huge opinion of Dewana Star, but once he found that soft lead, it really was a case of times and margins, and he was very, very well backed, even as a short price favourite. He just kept tumbling in, and he won like a favourite should here and used box 1 to perfection. Fantastic win. Some of the back markers there, Whiskey Whiskers and Electrify, never really got in the race. Electrify just kept getting jammed up on the fence, almost just stuck in the peloton there. I'm sure he wouldn't blow out a candle after that run because he just never got a crack in him. But yeah, Traumatised was brilliant. Dewana Star, just so much to work with there, a second into Group 1. And Ross the Boss, considering he took a hard right turn at Box Rise and found a ton of trouble, has done really well there to finish third. I'm sure Paul Galea will be thrilled with that third into Group 1 with a roughie there, Ross the Boss.
Yeah, 100%. 29.57 we know is absolutely moving here at the Meadows. And who would have thought if we were asked a couple of weeks ago whether that'd be 2/10 off what his PB is, would have thought you're absolutely kidding. But that's what he's put together tonight. And look, credit to the Thompsons as well, Ty, because for the past 2 years they have had, for the amount of greyhounds they've got and on ratio, some of the more dominant couple of years that we have ever seen in the sport, and it is not stopping anytime soon, particularly if this boy is to maintain what he's done over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, in the last couple of months, the camp's almost gone through a bit of a transition period with Explicit retiring, and Tim Zhu, who was below his best for a few months there, is just getting back into form right in time for the Sale Cup. But the transition period, they've just gone bang. Deadly Avenger came from the clouds from a Thompson point of view to win the Phoenix. Traumatised, like I said, going all the way back to the Pink Diamond. I remember hearing some whispers around the tracks that they've got another one here, and that was Traumatised, and he won the Pink Diamond. And said it's taken a while to put it together, and this dog on the right nights, typical of the Thompson camp, just fantastic camp to punt on. You know that their dogs will be trained to the minute. Box 1 used to perfection tonight, another Group 1 for Team Thompson.
Do you sense it's a turning point with this fella? or it's just been a couple of nice draws that he's taken advantage of?
No, definitely a turning point for this fellow. I think there's a chance he'll be the poster boy of greyhound racing here in Victoria in 2026, and be curious to see where he lands over the next couple of months with the carnival upcoming at the Q, or whether they give this dog a bit of a let up now and aim him at the Australian Cup Carnival. Thompson's always showed great decision making here, especially Vince Tullio as well. They never over race these dogs. This dog can get a start in whatever race he wants to now, so they might just continue to take his time with it, aim for the big races. And I think the world's his oyster. I think he's still got upside, even though he's a track record holder. He's starting to put it all together on the Mea Sat count.
And it's been well publicised for a number of years now how the Bernardo has sort of come from nowhere as one of the country's best sire. And after the retirement of Explicit, we sort of didn't have an absolute out-and-out star that had Bernardo next to his name. But here we go, traumatised, and another Group 1 win for that sire. Who's sort of gone to magnificent heights that maybe not many expected when he started off his breeding career.
Well, there's a lot more. Can you believe? Because there's a lot more people using Bernardo at stud now, so he's still got actually a lot of upside as a sire. What a brilliant effort it's been from Bernardo. And they said traumatised tonight, just sensational. Most of those greyhounds in this race, the likes of Room to Breathe, Whiskey Whiskers, To Want to Star and Electrify, all greyhounds to follow, and even Web Black Billy there. I thought he was great from box 8 there off a tough map tonight.
Yep, indeed. So that's a wrap of the Silver Chief 2025. Traumatised, who was simply breathtaking last week, breaking the track record, which was held by Alan Deed going back to 2015. He's not only chalked that up as a massive achievement on his resume, but now he is a Group 1 winner, being the Silver Chief winner for 2025. And as we turn the page into 2026 for a greyhound of his ability, who knows what is next? Time will tell. We'll take a break. We'll be back soon for race 9 here at the Meadows on Silver Chief Night. Yeah, it's true.
Been handy for me. What a trooper you are, Jess. Just hanging out here in the cold.
Yep. Just let me know when you're done.